Welcome to Rough Riders, I'm Jay Taylor. Today we're cooking up some baby back ribs and we're going to be comparing the 3-2-1 wrap method with the 5-hour no wrap method, so stick around. So in a number of groups that I belong to, I've seen a lot of questions recently about cooking ribs. Some people say, do them 3-2-1. Other people say no wrap. And a lot of questions around how to do either one of those methods. So I thought in this video I would do a brief comparison between the 3-2-1 method of cooking ribs and the no wrap method of cooking ribs. So I've got a single rack of ribs here that I'm going to fix for dinner tonight. With half the rack, I'm going to season it, cook it for 3 hours, wrap it in foil, cook it for another 2, and then unwrap it and finish it off for an hour. That's the 3-2-1 model. And with the other half, I thought I would just put it in there, do a no wrap, and cook it for 5 hours straight. And so because the 3-2-1 method is a 6-hour cook, I'm going to wait an hour before I add the unwrapped ribs to the smoker. I've got the smoker heating up at 225, and for seasoning I'm just using the Rectech Competition Rub, and we'll see how these come out. Okay, so the first half is on, and we'll go out in about an hour. We'll add this half rack, and then in about 3 hours we'll pull the first rack off, wrap that, and put it back on. So the first half rack has been on for about an hour. Now we're going to go add this one. This will be the unwrapped rack that we're putting on now. Okay, it's been 3 hours since we put the first half rack of ribs in the smoker. So we just pulled it off. We're going to put it on this foil, we're going to wrap it up and go put it back on for another 2. What this is going to do is it's going to trap the moisture in the meat and keep it inside the foil, so keep the meat nice and juicy and moist. So we've got it wrapped. Let's go put it back on. This has been in the smoker wrapped now for 2 hours. I've just pulled it off. We're going to unwrap it, take a look at it, and then we're going to go put it back out on the smoker for 1 more hour to try and put a bark on the ribs, and then it should be ready to cut and serve. We'll compare that to the 5-hour ribs that have been on there the entire time without any wrapping, and see how they look, see how they taste, and what the differences are. So you can see this trapped a lot of moisture. So these are very wet right now. Let's go put it back on the smoker to get a bark on it. Alright, so the ribs are done. The ribs here on the right were cooked for a total of 6 hours using 3-2-1, so that's 3 hours on smoke, 2 hours wrapped, and then 1 hour finished off to get the bark. The ribs on the left were just cooked for 5 straight hours, unwrapped. I didn't spritz anything or anything like that, so this is just a straight through cook. So we're going to take a closer look at these. These should be pretty much fall off the bone. The bone should be able to just pull right out. And these are probably going to be a little bit more sticky to the bone, so let's take a closer look. So I flipped the ribs over. These, again, should be fall off the bone. I should be able to just lift the bone right out. Comes out nice and clean with barely any meat on there. These are probably going to be more sticky to the bone, so I don't expect that the bone will lift right out. So no, they don't. But let's cut them open. not to cut directly on the foil. Look at these. All right. So these, you can see they're still very moist. They got a good pink smoke ring on them. These were the unwrapped. These are the 321. You can see that they are definitely moist as well. They've also got some good pink color to them. Let's do a taste test and see how see if there's a difference in the taste test. So this is the fall off the bone. Tender, juicy for sure, good flavor. A little bit of, I would say, sort of a steamed flavor to them because you're trapping that moisture and steaming that meat. That's part of what makes it fall off the bone. Let's try the 3-2-1 or the 5-hour cook. Good flavor, just like the others. Definitely juicy and tender, but the meat is definitely sticking to the bone more. But there is a subtle difference in the flavor that you don't see with the 3-2-1, in that it doesn't have that sort of steamed flavor to it. So that's, I think, kind of probably the big difference. I mean, popping the bone right off is really, really nice because that way it's all meat, but it does have a very subtle sort of steamed meat flavor profile to it. So there you have it. There's the difference between doing a 3-2-1 method. You get that fall off the bone with the very subtle steamed meat flavor to it. With the 5 hours no wrap, you get a good bark. Both of them actually had a good bark on them. But I think if I wanted a little bit more bark, I should probably cranked up the heat at the end. These were cooked at 225 for the entire period. But both of them are really good. I think my own personal preference, I prefer the 5 hours no wrapped because I just, that subtle steam flavor, just, I don't like that quite as much. So there you go. If you have any questions, please post those below and I'll get to those just as quick as I can. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And we'll see you here next time on Rough Riders. Thanks for watching.